Okay, Torah concept, New Testament. Take heed lest there be any of you, in any of you, an evil heart. Okay, so the warning here in Hebrews 3:12, it says, "Take heed lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living of God." You're right. This echoes the foundational Torah warnings against turning aside, drifting, or hardening the heart. The Torah consistently frames backsliding as a gradual inward departure that begins in the heart before it manifests in actual action. Okay, so the Torah parallels here. 1, Deuteronomy chapter 4, Israel's commanded to take heed to yourself, lest you forget the covenant and drift from what you have seen and heard. In 2, Deuteronomy 4, a direct warning not to forget the covenant and thereby turn aside from the living God. 3, Deuteronomy chapter 6, Israel must guard themselves lest they forget the Lord after receiving his blessing. 4, Deuteronomy 8, a caution that prosperity can cause the heart to be filled and lead to forgetting God, a classical pattern of backsliding. 5, Deuteronomy 11, take heed to yourselves lest the heart be deceived and turn aside to serve other gods, Elohim Acharim, other gods. And we got 6, Deuteronomy 29, a warning against the root that bears gall and wormwood, describing the inward seed of apostasy that leads to turning away. 7, Numbers chapter 15, the tassels, tzitzit, are given as Israel does not go after their own heart and their own eye, preventing drift from God's commandments. And 8, Exodus 32, the golden calf incident, demonstrates how quickly people can turn aside from the way that God has commanded us, and backsliding, right? Okay, so the context here is that the Torah portrays backsliding not as a sudden collapse, but as a slow inward progression or departure that begins with forgetting and with self-reliance and subtle compromise. And its repeated take heed commands emphasize guarding the heart, remembering the covenant, and resisting the pull to turn aside. Hebrews 3:12 draws directly on this pattern from the Torah. Unbelief is not merely intellectual doubt, but a heart-level drift away from the living God, the same danger that was Israel faced in the wilderness. The New Testament warning stands firmly within the Torah's framework of vigilance, remembrance, and covenant loyalty and identity. And so the core insight here is that the Torah teaches a spiritual decline begins in the heart long before it becomes visible, and therefore vigilance is essential. Hebrews continues this theme by urging believers to guard against the inward drift that leads to departing from the living God, echoing the Torah's call to continue the remembrance and the covenant faithfulness. Again, this is how the author of the book of Hebrews taught Torah. The Torah has not passed away.